Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final part of Touhouvania. Who's ready for an outro sequence before we get to the extra stage?
Where'd a budget go?
We've gotten to the part of the game that can only possibly be appreciated by people who understand Touhou.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's the outro, so I'm recording it.
I like how there's this frickin' Japanese shrine arch, whatever they're called, and behind it is this medieval as fuck Western castle. It's just...
Behind it, Castlevania. So this is a Donosaur game.
Hidden in the eclipse.
Oh, yeah. That game where they suddenly decided that the game wouldn't do well enough in Japan unless it starred a high school boy from Japan. So they moved the Transylvanian vampire castle to Japan and just sort of threw anime characters at it. Like they physically picked up anime characters and threw them at the castle. Also, I'm pretty sure that girl is a minor. You should not be giving her an alcoholic beverage.
I think the girl with the horns is an ogre.
Yeah, she's an ogre.
But I normally associate ogres being larger than that.
She's an ogre drawn like a 12-year-old, so I'm just saying.
So this is very illegal. Everyone's complicit in this crime.
Yeah.
Also, the blue fairy just also ate shit and is stumbling on the floor. Either that or she's completely shit-faced.
I can maybe buy that Sakia is overage. I mean, maybe a little bit.
Nobody here is overaged.
Well, yeah, but I could maybe buy that Sakia is. She at least pulls it off. I mean, I would still card her if she were at my cashier at Wawa and trying to buy cigarettes or something. But I could still buy it.
I see some ID. Do you know who I am? ID, please.
Why is that girl dancing in the background?
No, I think she's practicing or meditating.
Wait, no, did she just karate chop that other girl into the floor?
Possibly.
No, she's behind her.
Cerno probably deserved it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just agreeing because I actually don't know what the hell's going on here.
I don't know either.
So yeah, this whole thing happened because Remilia thought there was buried gold here.
What?
She was looking for the One Piece.
Yes, basically.
One of these days I actually need to watch that goddamn show so that I can finally...
Well, everyone tells me it's a better read than anime because it goes by much faster.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's true of every anime.
I don't know. I was talking about this beforehand, but like, if it comes to like anime or manga, like, I'm already a large Dragon Ball fan, so this isn't really the best example. But I'd rather watch Dragon Ball than read it.
I mean, that's kind of fair. Kind of.
There's things that is better conveyed in animation that I do in just illustrations. You have to fill in the blanks a lot with illustrations.
A lot of action is like that, yeah.
Well, that's true for everything except Dragon Ball Super. Dragon Ball Super just doesn't bother to convey anything because it has nothing to convey. Because it's a soulless cash grab going through the motions.
And they said rantings are dead.
If Dragon Ball Super had come out when the ranting community was out, you bet your ass they'd be drilling that into the ground. These days, Sword Art Online exists, so Dragon Ball Super gets a free pass. Everyone's looking the other way. Jesus.
I mean, it could be possible to hate both, though, to be fair.
Yeah, but, you're gonna rant about the one that makes the most money, so... SAO. Here's a video about how fairy dance is awful for the 100th time. Although, to be fair, it is pretty awful. Ugh. God, this cutscene is so boring.
Yeah, this cutscene's going on way too long for it to just be a static image and nothing but text.
Yeah, that's unfortunately
Yeah.
just how it is.
Could they have at least drawn a second illustration to fill time with? Oh, man.
Like, god damn, like, I should be drinking.
And, they had the budget, or the time or whatever it was they expended to get all this voice acting done.
Like, I do wonder, like, when did this re-release come out?
Last year, I think.
Last year. And like the version we commentated over years ago, like why the sudden interest? Or was this just something they just did on a whim? Because I know, like, the Switch effect, you put it on the Switch, it's gonna make money in some form or fashion. So it was I don't think there was any risk. But it just kind of seemed odd. Maybe an anniversary or something, or to an effect.
Maybe they saw how well the Castlevania Classic Collection did.
Probably. Was that a censor beep I just heard?
Yes.
What was it? The word kill?
I guess. I don't know.
Do the Toho girls also have a YouTube channel? They want to make sure they stay in the green?
Man, Scarlet Symphony doesn't even pop up on Steam's quick search drop down until you actually start typing the word symphony. Let's see.
Too many Scarlet games out there.
So this was released last July. It has 185 reviews mixed. Well, let me see. Why is it mixed? What does Steam have to say? Okay. Okay, people complaining about the price point, basically.
Well,
Yeah,
how much
so
is it?
It's
$30, I think.
$30. Yeah.
$30. I mean, do you consider it worth that price, Ryan?
I'd wait for a sale, but it's a good game, so.
The premium collector's edition bundle is $89.94. Oh, that's including Stranger's Requiem. Wait, there's a Touhouvania 2?
Yeah.
There's a Touhouvania 2. Oh, right. You play as Sakuya. Right. Okay.
Ryan established that last part. We just immediately forgot.
Yeah, okay.
This cutscene's draining all our brain cells. And we're not even drinking.
Okay, let me see what else. Okay. Okay, I love Steam reviews that are just, like, absolutely unhelpful. This guy is recently posted 0.1 hours playtime. His review is not recommended, and the entire text of the review is just bad. Are you a gamer or a sheep?
Sheep who thinks they're a gamer.
I too like to go online and complain about games I've never played.
Well, no, see, they did. They've actively purchased it and only played like a minute.
Yeah. Now let's see. Okay. So I guess apart from the price complaint, one or two of them actually do have like legitimate criticisms of the controls and stuff. We've been staring at the static image for 8 minutes. Eight and a half minutes.
That's quality content.
Man. Okay, so the extra stage is what? What is this now?
Oh, you just thrown into it. God damn.
Wait, do you have, like, the other characters with you?
You have all your summons you had before, yes.
Oh, okay.
But it is an extra stage where we have different bosses and all that, so.
Ah, I see.
This sounds like a mix of Moon Fight from Castlevania Chronicles. Oh yeah, it definitely is.
God, that angle is so awkward for the whip.
I mean, I could just fly over it, but.
Yeah, it's like it looks like the play here is just to fly over everything. The only obstacle in that case would be the birds.
Which is why
regular-ass
Ryan
birds.
is meticulously killing everything on the ground instead.
I want to build up my soul,
Oh.
extra boss, Rumia.
Oh, right.
Probably a character that had more prominence in the sequel. Did you know there's a second game?
There is a second game. We'll get to it someday.
The fuck out of here. What? I think you just made that up.
I just said there was a...
No, Ryan said it.
I just said it too. I'm staring at it on my Steam window. Wasn't this like a free to play game at the time? Like,
Kinda, yeah.
Well,
I'm sure it was paid in Japan,
The
but
fan translation was probably no, because it might have been a patch or something that you just like put on the actual thing. Yeah, I think you always had to pay for the game. It's just that it was Japanese only.
Fair enough.
You know, I remember because we did. Well, I poked fun at the translation in the original commentary because it was really fucking bad.
And it's like Fate's Stay Night, and when you're trying to play the English patch of that, no option but to get the game for free.
You know, maybe I'm just because I'm ignorant to like the effort put into it, but when I see a unreleased game, well, more like a game that wasn't brought over to our country, and there is like a fan translation of it, I'm always a little weary of it, no matter how much effort they claim be placed on like eliciting the spirit of like the other English translated games, because I think, is this really gonna come off or read as an actual English translation, or is it gonna be one of those really fucking cringy English translations that try to be too faithful to the source material?
That try to be too literal to the word translation.
Yeah.
Without accounting for the fact that there's a lot of nuance in Japanese that just does not translate to English unless you actually translate it to English.
Like, yeah, it's like, is this properly localized? Is probably the first question I'll ask.
Like, the only two like really good translations that come to my mind that were like fan patch free translations are Mother 3, because that was done by a professional localizer, and the Geofront translations of the Trails series crossball games, which were so good that you know, the actual localizers just paid to have that translation be the official one.
Ooh, less work. The fan translation of the second Miles Edgeworth investigation game, I've also heard good things about too. Which I still have not played to this day, and I need to, but
I would have to give a shit about Phoenix Wright to wanna care.
You never played them? I think you should.
Well, you know, it's strange. Like, I do like visual novels, but something about Phoenix Wright just does not check any of my boxes, and I don't know why.
I'm in a similar boat. Like, again, I didn't even consider this series until Ted gifted me the first game. And then afterwards, I became a pretty big fan. I wasn't like hard converted. Like, I don't eat, sleep, and breathe Phoenix Wright, but I am a fan of the series.
Right.
So if I can play it and enjoy it, I think you have no problem.
Well, I guess it's just not my genre is the thing. Like, there are a lot of big name visual novels that I just don't care to play. Like, I have no interest in Danganronpa.
Yeah.
There's kind of
Danganronpa on a surface level is kind of a harder sell for me because I'm not too big on the overly anime aesthetic, even though that's probably not the point.
The overly anime aesthetic I could deal with. I just don't like those kind of bleak games.
You say bleak? Oh,
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
It's a very downer series.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not interested in Zero Escape either for pretty much the same reason.
Oh, I didn't know Zero Escape was a visual novel.
I think it's a visual novel or visual novel adjacent. There's a whole subgenre within the visual novel genre that's just basically death games, I guess. And I have no interest in that because it's all just death and misery. It's like, in my mind, that kind of storytelling is like, what if Attack on Titan never went anywhere? I mean, I don't like the direction.
What if we were just watching a death and misery screensaver?
Yeah, it's like, you know, I I don't like the direction Attack on Titan eventually went, but at least it picked a direction and went there, you know?
You don't like death and misery things for death and misery's sake.
Yeah.
Essentially. I mean, isn't that just snuff at that point?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But like the what was I had a thread and I lost it. I'm sorry. I'm operating on like half an hour of sleep right now. My thought processes are a bit discombobulated. There's another example that I was thinking of, and it's like on the tip of my tongue. I hate when this happens.
I mean, I don't like things that are overly nihilistic either.
Oh, Game of Thrones. That was what I was going to bring up. Like,
Okay.
like, I was initially really turned off of a Song of Ice and Fire just in general, because like the very first episode is such a goddamn unmitigated disaster for the characters. A guy escapes the dramatic return of an ancient enemy and gets beheaded before he can tell anyone about it. A kid climbing a building sees two twin siblings rutting and gets pushed out a window to cover it up. And I'm just like, this is gonna be one of those stories, isn't it? Fortunately, Tyrion Lannister exists, and I credit that character just solely for getting me interested in the rest of the story, because goddamn, nothing else in that story was interesting me at first. And it's weird because as soon as that one character's story thread clicked, everything else snapped into place for me, and I just really enjoyed everything all of a sudden. And even now, I can go back to that first episode that I initially hated, and I see all the stuff that I was missing at the time. It's very strange, but you know, sometimes the initial perceived tone of a story just stops me from appreciating anything. And there needs to be something that catches my interest outside of that for me to start paying attention again.
Well, Attack on Titan, I gave a season before dropping it because I just didn't like how fucking dreary that show was. Even if that was the point, I understand that.
Oh, I don't like how dreary Attack on Titan is either. Like,
but then I was told it's like maybe you'd like Berserk more. But the problem with Berserk is that there's a lot of Berserk.
Also, the author unfortunately died before finishing.
Yeah. You want to know how I learned that? Outside of like Twitter circles, there was a number of large ass memorials held in tribute for the man in Final Fantasy 14. Like everybody changed their class to Dark Knight and just like the held memorial service in all the 3 major city states. It was very heartwarming. But I've been told that's like Berserk is tough, but it doesn't beat you on the head with it.
I guess.
From my understanding.
I don't know. Nothing about Berserk has ever caught my attention, except maybe like the animation quality in the few clips that I've watched was pretty impressive.
Well, also, isn't there like multiple iterations of?
There's
like,
there's an incredibly bad CG version. Yes.
Right.
I'm just like not super interested in what little.
So maybe
I know.
it's a better read at this point than it is just like an anime.
Maybe.
Again, but the problem is that there's a lot of it. Like, I don't know if it's like the size of One Piece or Detective Conan, but I know there's a lot of Berserk.
Well, Detective Conan is just a series that never ends.
I mean, so is One Piece.
Well, One Piece at least has story arcs that you know that cover entire seasons. Detective Conan is literally just episodic mystery stories, and like once every decade or so, the story remembers that it has a main plot and spends a few issues advancing that a couple of inches from where it last stopped. But you know, it's mostly just Conan Edogawa is cursed and can't go anywhere without stumbling head over heels on top of a dead body. And occasionally running into Kaito Kid when they feel like doing something other than a murder mystery. And it's a really fun series, but it just never goes anywhere, you know?
Thank God hitboxes are only a suggestion in this game. Because that sword clearly hit you, like dead on.
Your head should be rolling across the floor.
Yeah.
Well, that hit me. So.
But it's okay, they'll make it some way comfortable.
The enemy hitboxes, on the other hand, are way larger than their sprites. Because, like, you're just whipping the air in front of that
I think that's
enemy.
probably for the sake of the player.
Yeah, but, like, that whip was clearly not touching that enemy.
Like, I would have been surprised if the maid fairy's like hitbox is just a large square.
Probably, yes.
Okay, let's see.
It was like what's funny is like discovering like the process of like implementing hitboxes was a pretty fun experience because I've done it myself for that Flash game I had you guys play for the TMG like panel.
Yeah.
I spent the day working with the hitboxes for that game because originally everything was just like a large box or large rectangle. It's like, yeah, I can't survive for more than a second with what I have now because everything just fucking kills me. So yeah, I mean, it's a pretty interesting experience. Also, it's like this is why I never get into fucking game development because I'd get lost in these details for much longer than I need to.
Well, I mean, it's easy to forget this fact when you're actually playing the finished product, but every little thing in game development takes a long time to do.
No, what are you talking about? Just hit a button. Like the Staples Easy button. Whoa, what the hell?
Extra final boss Flandre.
Who the hell is Flandre?
Remilia's younger sister.
You know,
Right.
I love how even in the fucking official English translation, they do that stupid fucking thing where instead of ellipses being ellipses, they're these 3 periods that sort of hover in the middle of the screen sometimes. And it doesn't even do it all the time in this translation. Flandre does it when she talks. But Reimu here has regular ass ellipses. But Flandre doesn't even do it all the time. She just did it that one time. What? Is that just some leftover Unicode or something? But like that's a translate. She's doing it now.
Yeah, she's doing it now. Yeah.
What?
Isn't it supposed to be like a hyphen?
Well, you see those ellipses that happen in the middle rather than at the bottom are a thing that happens specifically in Japanese text. Like if you look at Japanese dialogue, when ellipses happen, they're positioned toward the middle because that's just how they do it. So there are a fair few like really budget translations of Japanese games that just keep the ellipses in the middle where they were originally, because they're using the same goddamn Unicode font that the Japanese text was written in originally. And they just never updated it to include English ellipses, I guess.
Dude, I just like her, the fucking silhouette in the background is just her character art.
Yeah. Also, Flandre's really fucking hard.
Is Flandre a shadow on the wall? I guess she is.
Like, imagine fighting Dracula, and he's got a big-ass portrait of his character portrait in dialogue. Like, in the background.
Now, they've literally just made these bullet patterns, like, have zero concessions to being on the ground. Like, these frickin' Killzone death nets of bullets. You're supposed to use your tiny-ass hitbox to, like, slip through the needle as they fly around. This shit is bullshit, man.
No, I think at that point you just have to like hard commit to Toho mode and just fly in the air and just avoid that because you're not avoiding that shit on the ground. Not this.
But yeah, I'm not good enough to be Flandre on normal, so.
Yeah, I mean that's the play right there. What you're doing is like you should be sticking to the top and just adjusting left and right.
I mean, there is that, but you also kind of want to use the whip for the greater damage. So
Well, no, I'm just talking about for that specific attack.
that specific attack is every attack, though.
Yeah, I know. But
So, like, when you're playing, I guess if you want to use the whip to get greater damage output, you have to like really rapidly transition back and forth between being on the ground and being in the air.
yeah, we couldn't find the original artist for this. So.
Thankfully, this outro is nowhere near as long as the outro of the main game.
I was gonna say if it's another fucking 8 minutes, it's like I was gonna lose my shit.
Thankfully, no. We've only got about like 20 seconds left.
20 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, we can make it 8 minutes. Could you imagine? As a joke.
This is an April Fool's, Sean.
Nah, it's gonna get uploaded relatively soon. Actually, now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Well, that's Touhouvania 1. Koumajou Remilia.
It's Koumajou Remilia
Symphony.
Scarlet something Densetsu.
What?
Turbo.
What?